Good Tvach. The learning as a schus from Shlema for Ilana Chaya Basara, and as a aliyah for the neshama of Meir ben Elazar. We are on Daf Ayin Ches Amid Beis. So we had mentioned, it's not really relevant in the context in which we originally mentioned it, but we had said that Chananya uses the word Oisai when we were darshaning from the previous plot of how do you know that b'mikdashin in b'chullin loy? So we had back and forth with the limudim where we learn out the limud that Oisei v'espenoi goes to Mukdashin as well. In any case, but we had said Chananya uses the word Oisei for something else, and the Rabbanan Chacham disagree with him. Now that we're going to say, where is that machlokes? So, my Chananya, my Rabban, right about halfway down on Ayin Chesam Beis. The Tanya. Oisei v'espenoi noyig menekeves ve'ene noyig b'scharim. Oisei v'espenoi only applies to nekeves, but not to scharim. That's the Tanakama. Meaning, if the parent that you're shechting is the mother, then there's a problem of Oisei v'espenoi. There's no problem with shechting the father, the male that bred the female. Chananya disagrees. He says it applies to scharim just like nekeves. My time the Rabbanan. What's the reason the Rabbanan? The Tanya. I might think, like Chananya said, the Torah says Oisei v'espenoi. It means either parent can't be shechted at the same time as the child, the same day as the child. V'dinu, where we learned that, where we see that from? Chayiv kan. He says that's why we wouldn't say that it goes for the father, because we learn out from the din of shiluach hakan. It's not really the din of shiluach hakan; it's the din of not taking the children, the eggs or the chicks, while the mother is in the nest, and that only applies to the mother. There's no such din that if the male bird, how you would know which is the male father seems to me a very difficult proposition. I guess if there were two of them in a cage, so you would know. So we learn out from Shiluach HaKan. So how could you learn out from Shiluach HaKan? How could the Chacham say that? By the din that you have to send away the mother, with that you can't take away the baby chick or the egg when the mother is there. That only applies where it's not mezumin, where it's not something that belongs to you. If you own a chicken, there's no necessity of sending away the mother. It's only when it's in hefker. It's a bird that doesn't belong to anyone. So maybe since Eimal Abanim is restricted in this way, that's why it's only for the mother. But Oisei v'espenoi, which doesn't have this restriction, also doesn't have the restriction that it only relates to the mother. Tamalayma Oisei. The Torah says Oisei, meaning Oisei v'espenoi, that the Torah says Shor Oisei v'espenoi le'sishchatu b'yayim echav. Oisei echad v'loi beis. So the Torah says Oisei, you shouldn't kill it. The Espenoi, as well as its child, Oisei is a lashon yachid, so it only means one. It doesn't apply to both parents. It only applies to the mother. Once the Torah had said you only do one, now zachisi lodin chayiv kam v'chayiv be'em alabanim. Now we could use the limud from eim alabanim. Ma'agish chayiv be'em alabanim and the kevis le'bischar. Avish chayiv kam and the kevis v'le'bischar. Rashi explains this. Zachisi Lad, in the first wide line, Me'ata and Rishai Lilmud Midin Harishan, Bezuzu Yinag. Now I could use, we had a kasha, we had pirchas on learning out from Eimal Banim. But now that we have a pasuk that says it's only one thing, the hasha lekalim if time about Oisev es benoi, also by mezum kshein mezum, if you can rig b'schar v'lem nekes, the my chumrahi zu lema kain mali schar mali nekevis. We're saying that it's a kshein mezum, that it's no longer a reason to do zcharim or nekevis. It's no chumrah to pick zcharim or nekevis over zcharim. So therefore, we can't make a pircha on this when we're using it as the reason to learn out which one we're going to say Oisei is referring to. So now we could say from learning from Eimal Abanim that it's referring to the mother. So chisilot, the chayv kam v'chayv ben Abanim, mak chayv ben Abanim, and the kevis lo yischar, mak chayv ben kevis v'lo yischar. Ve'ef nafshach loimer, and if you're going to have a problem with that, I have another point. B'noi, misha b'noi karach achrav, yotze zacha, she'en b'noi karach achrav. Also, since the Torah says, oisei ve'es b'noi, so it's referring to its son, its child, the child of a female animal that the child has a relationship, right? It nurses from it, it's related, it knows who it is. The father has nothing to do with. So Benoi is mashma the mother as well. So in addition to what we said, you learn out from Eimal Abanim, we have a second reason why it's referring to the Nekeva. We're 3 lines from the bottom on Ayin Ches Amud Beis. In fact, the Mara Mam Nafshach Lema, why do I need 2 terutzim? If you'll say Oisei, the word Oisei is a Lashon Zachar, so that's mashma, a Lashon that it's the Zachar. It means you can't learn out from Eimal Abanim if Oisei is mashma fakert. So we have a pasuk over here to counteract the mashmais of the pasuk of Oisei, which is Zachar, and it says Benoi, which is mashma the mother. So therefore, we stay with the mother. So that is all in the machlokes between the Chachamim and Hananya, right? So they ended up saying that you learn out from Benoi that you go after the father. You go after, the mother, and not the father. That we, as far as Oisei es Benoi, we disregard if you shech the father on the same day as the child of this behema, you're not going to be chayiv Oisei es Benoi. Well, Hananya who disagrees, who says you are chayiv for the father as well. Ksiv Oisei the mashma zachar. Like we said, Oisei is a lashon zachar. It's mashma zachar. Ksiv benoi misha benoi karach achar. The mashma nekeva. Helkach noyig bein beschar bein nekevas. He says it refers to both. It refers to both zcharim and nekevas. He disagrees with the lashon that the lashon oisei is a lashon yachad, which is mashma only one of them. Just doesn't darshan that, and therefore he uses both benoi and oisei. Benoi is the mother, and oisei is the father. So it comes out, Hanani in the end is using the pasuk of Oisei. The Chachamim had suggested let's learn from Oisei, but in the end they said Benoi trumps it. So they don't really learn out from Oisei. So it's coming out, Hanani learns Oisei to tell you that Oisei ves Benoi applies to both the mother and the father of the newborn, the 1-day-old child, or it doesn't have to be 1 day old, but the child, and the Chachamim disagree. Amar Funa Bar Chia Amar Shmuel. Hilchos Hananya. The halacha is like Hananya. Va'az the Shmuel Tamei. Shmuel, who says halacha is like Hananya, is going l'shitasei. The Tanan. B'yidaimer. Hanoil de minasus. We're talking about what we call a parad in the Gemara. It's very confusing to me, because we all know what a ferd is, right? We've all been called by our 2nd grade Rebbe at some point. You're a ferd. It means a horse. But in the Gemara, a parrot is a mule. A mule is the offspring of a horse together with a donkey, which is, I don't know, for some reason my mind has a hard time grasping it. To me, donkeys and mules are very similar things. But no, a mule, and for some reason, I don't know where I got this impression at some point in my life, I thought mules were not capable of propagating, of procreating. But the Gemara seems to say not like that. So I guess it's not true. In any case, a horse that breeds together with a donkey produces a mule, and a mule who procreates with another mule produces another mule. Okay, so he said over there, Rabbi Yehuda, this is a Mishnah in Klai. Haneldim in Hasus, those that are born from a sus, which Rashi explains at this point in the Gemara at least, that it means um, a female horse. Those mules that are born from a female horse, Afal Pishavi and Chamar, even though obviously if it's a mule, it has to have a father who is a Chamar in order to produce with a female horse a mule. Mutar and Zeh. They're mutter one with another. They have two such mules, who the father the mother is a horse and the father is a donkey. They're going to be mutter. There's not going to be a problem of klayim to breed them together. Aval hal noldim in a chamor, those that the mother is a chamor, im hanoldim in hasus. And now you want to breed them together with those that are born from the mother who is a sus, asur. They're asur. And this is the I mean, the Gemara is going to suggest other ways of reading it, but this is the simple way of understanding. So this is what the Mishnah says, right? That you can breed together two mules whose mothers were both horses, but if the mother was a donkey and you put it together with another mule whose mother was a horse, and obviously the father was a donkey, that's awesome. Rashi, let's see the Rashi on this. Let's see the Rashi. I'll know because it's a little confusing. The second line. Ava bishavi and chamor mutar. Pered zachar ben sus nekeva. This is talking about a male mule that's born from a mother who's a horse. In perda nekeva basus nekeva, and you breed this mule, which is a female mule, whose mother was a female horse, right? You could say it's not a problem to put the two of them together. Two mules who both of them whose mothers are female horses. You don't say that it's a problem since each mule is half horse and half donkey, that the tzad donkey is going to be breveya to the tzad sus, and therefore it's going to be klayim. It's not a problem. They're both identical. Shetzad sus v'chamor yesh mishleim lahalech hayshinen manavshach. If we take into account the genetics, the yichus from the father, the male, in this case the male donkey, both of them have both a female mother who's a sus and a male father that's a chamar. And if we don't care about the father, we disregard the father, then they're both full-fledged horses, and again, it's not a problem. Avol, Rashi continues, Prodim hanoldim in hasus nekeva, a mule that was born with a mother who's in a nekeva, asurim and predim hanoldim in chamar nekeva. Those are also to be bred together with a female. Are you hearing these fireworks behind me? No, you can't hear it? It is so loud right outside my window. So funny. In predim hanoldim and chamar nekeva, if you bred this mule, that's the child of a sus, and you want to breed it together with a mule whose mother is a chamor, the shema ain't chayshin lezarav, because maybe we're not chayish for the father. It's going to be aser. Rashi says shema. Maybe we disregard the fathers, and therefore it's a sus with a chamar, which is us. So now we're going back to the Gemara. Amr Rav Yehuda, Amr Shmuel, Rabbi Yehuda said b'shem Shmuel. Rabbi Yehuda meaning the Amayra, who said b'shem Shmuel the Amayra. Zu divrei Rabbi Yehuda. This is the shita of the Tana Rabbi Yehuda. The Amar ein chayshim l'zerav. We're not chayish for the zerav, and that explains everything, right? We can. So let's see. Rashi says Zu divrei Rabbi Yehuda. The Amar shema ein chayshim l'fika chasurim. There's in parentheses in the Rashi shema. The Gemara is going to have a big discussion about whether Yehuda holds for sure we're not chayish for zerav, or it's a misafik we're not chayish l'zerav. But in either case over here, either way, the halacha is going to be the same, because it's going to certainly be usher if we don't. In the second case, if we are chayish l'zerav, they have different fathers, different mothers, so therefore it's going to be kalayim. And if we disregard the zerav, then it's certainly one is a horse and one is a donkey. And in the first thing that we said, they're both noilim and asus. If we disregard the father, then they're both horses. And if we do take into account the fathers, they both are the same. They're the exact same combination. So it's not klein. Avo chacham maimrim. So Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel continues to say, but the chacham say, all kinds of mules are the same, meaning that we're not going to be chayish. It's not going to be a problem. So Dr. Gemara, that means even if you crossbreed, right? Man chacham. So who are these chachamim, right? And Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel is saying he's saying it's Rabbi Yehuda versus the Chacham, meaning he's paskening like the Chachamim. We wouldn't call it the Chacham unless they were the Roiv, and that was the Shita. So Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel is saying like that. Man Cham, Chananin Hida Amar Chayshon Zarav. This is going according to Chananya, who said Legabi Oisei ve'Espinoi, right? Back on Amid Beis, we had said that he says Oisei ve'Espinoi, the Tanakama said, the father is also part of the cheshbon. So that was he learned that from Hananya used the psukim to tell you that we are chayish for the Av, and the Chacham said we don't. And we paskin like the Chacham. V'hai bar susa v'chamra, v'hai bar charma v'susa. He'll say chayish l'zerav. So in the second case, where the mother, the second case, where the mother of the first, you're breeding together two mules, and the mother of the first one was a horse, and the father was a donkey, and the second one, the father was a donkey, the mother was a donkey, and the father was a horse, but it's all the same min, because he said we take into account the father. They're all the same, all mules, whether the father was the donkey or the mother was the donkey, are the same thing, because we take into account the father. Okay, so that's how we see that Shmuel holds like Chananya, because he calls it the Chachamim, but we have that same machlekes about whether we take into account the Zerah Ha'av. Now we ask, Ibaylahu. The Dalit is Mifshit Pshita, Leila Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda had said that we don't take into account the Zerav. And therefore he said those would be Aser. Because maybe it's just in the second case that where they were arguing, we said, the first case everyone agrees that it's Mutter, right? But on the second case, that's where Hananya and the Chachamim and Rabbi Yehuda argued. That which Rabbi Yehuda said on that it's going to be Aser when the mother, one mother was of the one mule was a donkey and the other one was a sus. He said it's because he holds Ein Choshen L'Zerav. Is that Mifsheh Pashut Rabbi Yehuda Ein Choshen L'Zerav? Is he that he holds definitively that we disregard the parentage from the father's side? Or maybe he's saying it's us because we're not sure whether we take into account. So if we don't take it into account, then there are two different minim. The two mules are different minim. If you do take it into account, then he so we have to worry about that possibility. So therefore, we're going to answer it. Lamai nafkamina. What difference if he's saying it misafik of how what the din is, or if it's mivadai? The difference will be lemishra pre im ha'im. If you have a mother who is, let's say, a sus, and the father is a donkey, so it produces a mule whose mother is a sus, and then you want to mate that mule with a full-fledged horse, im ha'im, meaning with the species of the mother. If you hold that Rabbi Yehuda holds there is no zera ha'av pri im ha'im shari, then it's mutter because the mother was a sus, and this mule is considered fully a sus. We disregard the father, the donkey father. But if he says the suffix pre-aim and ma'aim asur, then it's going to be awesome because the possibility that we're taking into account the donkey father, and this mule is a mixture, so it's asur with a horse. So what is the final resolution of this? Tashma Yehuda Kol hanoldim in hasus ava pisha avin chamor mutar zeh b'zeh. Rabbi Yehuda had said from this Mishnah, right? Rabbi Yehuda said everything that's born from a mother who's a horse, even though the father is a chamor, mutar and zeh b'zeh. It could be two mules. It doesn't mean kol hanoldim in hasus, meaning a full-fledged sus with a mule. What it means to say is you have two mules whose mothers are horses, even though both of the fathers are donkeys, they're mutter to each other. Hey chidam, what's the case? If we're talking about two female horses who gave birth to mules that are being mated, that a male and a female, one female horse with a male. It's mamish hard to talk. It's so loud here. If a female horse together with a male donkey gave birth to one male mule, and then the same combination, a female horse with a male donkey gave birth to a female mule. What do you have to tell it to be for? They're the exact same thing. They have the same parentage. Why would it be Asar's Klein? They're the same thing. So there would be no chiddush to say that. Elalav davu dahai sus, vavu dahai chamar. When we said hanoldim in asus, it doesn't mean that both of the mules that are being mated together. It means any mule that was mated, that was bred from a mother who's a sus together with a chamar, and the other one was the other way around. The other one, let's say the first one gave birth to a male mule, and the second one was a female donkey that was mated with a male horse and gave birth to a mule. So the opposite one. Even though it's not what the lashon sounds like. It's not it doesn't mean Avli Shavi and Chamar on both of them. It means just the first one. The first animal of the pair that's you're mating together, that it's going to be mutter. Uktani mitarim zemzeh. You're saying that it's mutter. Ama mipshitale. Weistais, he must hold that that we disregard I'm sorry. So we're not talking about two mules. We're talking about a mule whose mother is a horse and the father is a donkey, even though the father of that mule is a donkey, and you put it together with a full-fledged horse. The father and the mother were horses. And that's what the Chiddush is coming to tell you, that it's mutter. And what's the reason? Because it's pasha to him that we disregard the father. So this first, the one whose mother is a sus, is the same horse as the one whose father is a sus. It makes no difference as long as the mothers are both susim, we don't care. It's like more like L'olam davua dahai chamor vavua dahai chamor. It's like we had first originally suggested that it's two mules that were bred from mothers who are sus and fathers who are a chamor. The ka'amar trichel amema, you ask, why do you have to tell it? There's a reason. Ma'al detema, osit tzad the sus, mishtam tzad chamor, v'tzad chamor, mishtam tzad sus. Kamashmal. And Rashi had already bavarned this when we were seeing the Gemara up front. But the Gemara this is where it comes from. It comes from the Gemara. The Gemara says, you might have thought, since each mule has both elements in it, each mule has both a tzad of chamor from the father and a tzad sus from the mother, we would consider it kalayim to breed the two mules together, because we would say the father's side, the mule side, the donkey side from the father will mix with the other animal's sus side from the mother, and therefore will be asurat kalayim. So that's what we have to tell you, that it's not a consideration. So we're left still with our question. Rabbi Yehuda, who had said we're not chayshel zerav, is that misafik or is that altzvada? Tashma, Rabbi Yehuda Ima. Pardo shetava, a mule who is, so to speak, in heat. It needs to be bred. Eimar v'yanolel loisus v'loy chamar. You can't. It's a female. You can't bring a male horse or a male donkey to be mariyat. Elamina. You have to bring the same thing, its own min. Zakmar. V'amr mifsheh pshita. If you hold that it's pashut, what does it mean you bring elamina? Livala mina deima. Why are we saying it's min? The mule's min. You're not going to be marviyin at a min of itself. You should be marviyin in it whatever its mother was, because we disregard the father, so it has the same din as its mother. And for the Gemara, the Amma, which saying over here, you bring on it its min. What doesn't mean to say you could bring on it its min. It means you stop. We're talking about a case where you don't know. We just know it's a mule from the mother and the father, from a donkey and a horse, but you don't know which one was the mother. So therefore, we say, since we don't know what the min is, you can't. You're not allowed to be marviyah another animal. It says you can only bring marviyah its min. It doesn't sound like it's saying that you can't be marviyah because we don't know the min. It's saying you can be marviyah its min. What it means to say is, it's not saying that you could be marviyah on its min. What it means to say is, you can't do any min because we don't know, which is really what we had spoken out up front. Why don't we check? There are ways to figure out who the mother is. The Amar Abaya, and this is a very genetically, under current knowledge, it seems a bit dubious, but we're saying that it will be a difference in the physical characteristics. It will be more horse-like or more donkey-like, depending on whether the mother or the father is the horse or the donkey. The Amar Abaya, Avi Kaleh Bar Chamra. If it has a deeper bray like a donkey, then the mother of the mule is a donkey. Snif Kaleh, if it's a more high-pitched, like a neigh of a horse, Bar Susa. That means the mother is a horse. V'amar Papa, Ravravin Udnel, if it has big ears, which is a donkey simon, V'zutra Gnufte, and it has a smaller tail, which is also like a donkey, Bar Chamra, the mother is the donkey. Zurtun Udna V'raba Gnufte, if it's the other way around, Bar Susa. That means the mother is a horse. So why don't we just check? Why are we saying that you can't breed this animal because they don't know who the mother is? Take a look and see. We're talking about a horse that's mute. It can't neigh or bray, and it's also missing its tail, and you can't look at the tail to see what it's. So my haviyah. So we're back to our original question. To Rabbi Yehuda, is it Is it zicher we disregard the father, or is it misafik? We're not sure if it has the yichus of the father. Tashma Damar of Huna Breda of Yeshua. Hakol moedim pri ha'em bepri im ha'em sha'asa. Rabbi Huna said in Shem Rabbi Yeshua that everyone agrees, and this was the nafkamina that we had said between the two shitas, that the if you have, let's say, a female horse that gave birth to a mule, that it will be usher to be born a full-bred sus. Shmami no mesufu kusufu suvuki mesafkale. If you held we disregard the father, there would be no problem. But now that we are not sure, so if we are going to regard the father, so it will be partially donkey, and it'll be also to be born on a horse. Amar Amalei Rab Abba L'Shamei. He ma'ailesly could nice berispik. If you're going to take me on a wagon, along with that's being pulled by mules, I am the Hanach the Damiel Hadadi. Go check that they both look like the same, meaning that they have the same simonim about the length of their tails and the length of their ears, as long as they're the same. V'ayali, and then I can go on the wagon. So you see from that, that means Rashi says, that it's a suffix, right? Because if you would say that the father Choshen L'Zera is a vadai, then he would say that everything is going to be, whether it's the father is the donkey or the mule. You don't have to check because they're both going to be a mixture. Every mule is a mixture of the two, and he would be okay with it. But for the fact that he requires him to check, Vice says he was misupper. And additionally, Vice he holds that these simanim, it could be saimech on them midaraisa, because he's saying misafik, but if he's wrong, then he's going to be over on client. So Vice he was nachas to using the simanim to tell him which one it is. Okay. Tana Rabban. We'll do as much as we can. It's really distracting. I don't know how you can hear it. You really don't see it loud over there? It's like these guys are having a party. It's the strangest thing. It bothers me so much because I get so annoyed like with the people going to Uman and the people like Lag BaOmer making the whole thing. What is Shabbos Nachmu? What kind of business is this? You make a whole party at the end of nothing. It's not like the Beis Hamikdash was built now. It just we finished the Avelis. Like what? Why is that a celebration? It's Lucy understands. Dovi, you're not enough of a Litvak to fully understand this.
I don't understand what fireworks has anything to do with like it's negotiable. I don't know what it has anything to do with.
It's
But
like
that's
4th of July. They're stealing from 4th of July.
right. If you want to make a kumzit something nice, a Jewish thing, that I'm okay with that stuff. Fireworks is nothing. It's like a goyish. Like I don't understand.
It's like guns. It doesn't belong to Jews. Jews should not be doing. Jews don't do tractors. We don't do guns. We don't do fireworks. It's not for us. We got to know our. We got to stick to our lane. Yeah, I would even say maybe hot dogs we shouldn't be doing altogether, but that might be going too far. Yeah. Okay. Let's quickly try to do a little bit about the koi. Torah Rabban. So we've been talking about Oisev Espenoi. Oisev Espenoi, Noi B'Klayim U'B'Koi. We had started in our Mishnah, right? Our Mishnah talked about Oisev Espenoi, and we said in the Gemara, I think in the Mishnah said it, that Klayim is going to apply, even if something is Klayim, if it's a produce of a mixed breed, it still has in there Oisev Espenoi that you can't shech the mother together with the child. U'B'Koi, and it also applies to a Koi. Because a Kalayim, the Kalayim that we're talking about over here is only Kalayim of a Seh and an Ace. Not I shouldn't say a Seh, of a sheep and a goat, right? Because the Torah says the din of Oisev Espanoi is only on behemoths. It's only on Shar Oiseh. Seh includes both sheep and goats, but it's on cows and sheep and goats. I don't think it's feasible. I don't think we ever talk about the possibility of crossbreeding a cow with a sheep or a goat. I don't think that's feasible. So the only kalayim that you could have that you would have Oisev Espanoi is a sheep and a goat. But a kai, we're going to discuss exactly what a kai is. So he says, the Tanakama says, on both of them, you're going to have kalayim. You're going to have Oisev Espanoi. He disagrees with the first thing that we had said. The kalayim does have Oisev Espanoi, and that's talking about mina ezim and arachel, from a goat and a sheep. Kai, what is the aleph? Mina kai, ein Oisev Espanoi noig by. But he disagrees about the kai. The kai is a different animal. We're going to see what it is in a minute. There's no Oisev Espanoi. Amar of Chizda. Ezu kai shenechlu kabay Rebbe Eliezer v'chacham. What is this kai that the chacham said there is Oisev Espanoi and Rebbe Eliezer disagrees? Zeh haba min hatayish u'min hatzviyah. That's a crossbreed of a tayish, which is a goat, and a tzviyah, which is a kind of deer. When they crossbreed, that's where the Tanakama will say it will have a din of Oisev Espanoi, and we'll see under exactly what circumstances. And Rebbe says it's not. Hechidam. What is this case exactly? If you say it sounds like the actual lashon of the memory was that of what Rav Chizda had said, it's talking about a male goat that's ba on a female deer, v'yolda, and they gave birth. You and then you killed this female deer together with this crossbreed, which is called a kai. Everyone agrees that Oisev Espanoi, the Torah said Oisei was talking about a seh, shar Oiseh, Oisev Espanoi, Oisishkatu. Oisei is the shar and seh. So it says shar Oiseh when it gives birth. You can't do it together with its son. Over here, the mother is a deer. That's not going to be included in Oisev Espanoi. The Torah said only a seh. I mean, it says of shar also, we're not talking about that. It must be the other way around. A male deer was ba on a female goat. V'yolda. And you're shechting the mother, which is a goat, with the kai child, which is the crossbreed. There's no requirement about the child that has to be a particular breed. It's only about the mother that has to be a sharisah. And in this case, the mother is a goat, which is included in seh. So we have to mix it up a little bit. We're talking about a male goat that was bought on a female deer. V'yolda bas, and they had a female kai. Ubas, then that the kai is the mother over here. The mother is not the tzviyah, is not the female deer, but rather it's the bas that was yolda. Ubas yolda, v'yolda bas, ubas yolda ben. That kai that was born from them gave birth to its own child, which was a ben. So the kai had a son who's a kai. The chashachet lo libra was shechting the second generation, the kai, together with its child. Rabbanan savri chayshin l'zerav. The Rabbanan say we're chayish about in this. We're talking about this Rabbanan. We're not talking about the Chachamim and Chananya. We're talking about over here the Chacham that were arguing on Rebbe Eliezer. Rabbanan said that Oisev Espanoi is noig b'koi, That means so Chayish L'Zera Av. The father of this Kai was a goat, the mother goat, the mother Kai. Its father was a goat. The Seh Vafilu makes a Seh. And the Torah says it has to be a Seh. Even if it's partially a Seh, that's enough to make it have a din of Oyster Vespanoi. So since this Kai, which is the mother, has a father that was a Seh, or an A's in this case, it's considered to be we were chayish for that mixus that should be have a din of Oyster Vespanoi. V'le'ezeh savar ein chayshin l'zera av. He holds we're not chayish l'zera av. V'sev afilu mixus seh lo yaminim, and therefore Seva Filu Mixaseh is not relevant. It's the Gemara several times has this lashon in a misleading way. It sounds like he holds Seh, he doesn't hold of Seva Mixas. We're going to have that discussion later on, but at this point, it's not relevant. If he holds that Eichoshin Lazera Av, so the Kai is its mother was a deer, so it's not a Seh at all. It doesn't make a difference whether the Chai is there is no Mixaseh because the Kai was a full-fledged deer. Track the Mara of a lift like b'choshen l'zerav, the plug the Chanan v'Rabbanan. So the says, so why are we making this whole setup where it comes down to the question of whether Chai Chayish l'zerav? We already had earlier this machlokes Hananya and the Chachamim. The Hananya said we are Chayish l'zerav, and Rabbi Yehuda was chaylik on him. He said we're not Chayish. And so why do we have to set up another case where it comes down to the same discussion in the end? So Gemara, pligi ba'hi, everyone would have said the machlokes about whether chayish l'zerav. Havamina b'ha, we would think in this case, right, where the Kai's mother was a deer. Afilu rabbanon moidi, the sev afilu mektzeh sev lo yaminon. It wouldn't be enough to tell you that chayish l'zerav. Because you know chayish l'zerav. So the Kai's father was partially was a Seh. But maybe he holds just because a portion of it is a Seh is not enough of a reason to say that Oyser Vespanoi will apply just because that small portion. Kamash Malan. Let's do one more section. We're going to go through 3 different applications where this machlokes of what the treatment of a kai will be. So far we've done with the din whether you're chayiv in Oyser Vespanoi. Now we're going to say legabi the din of mechasen dam. The din of kisei adam only applies to a chaya. A kai is obviously a crossbreed, like we said, between a deer and a goat. So the deer part is a chaya, which has a din of kisi adam. The A's is a behema, which doesn't have a kisi adam. So now the Gemara, v'hadatanan, kai ain't sheich nesa b'yamtiv. You can't shech the kai on yamtiv, and the reason is v'im shechtu ein mechasen as damai. You're not going to be able to be mechasa as dam because it's going to be a suffix of whether it's a chaya or a behema legabe the din of kisei adam. You're not going to be able to be mechasa its dam on yomtiv because on yomtiv you're being over a malacha unless it's a mitzvah of a eichel nefesh. Because it's a chaya that requires kisei adam, you're not allowed to do kisei adam. So you're going to put yourself in a bad position if you shecht a kai because you're not going to be able to do kisei adam, but it might need kisei adam. If you do it during the week, it's no problem. You just do kisei adam anyway, and you haven't lost anything. But you'll be doing a malacha if it's not necessary. So, I ask you, what is this case that we say that a kai you shouldn't do kisei adam on yom tov? If it's where the male, the father, was a goat that was bought on a female deer, the yolda, and it gave birth. Bein l'Rabbanan, bein l'Elazar, lishchait, the lichsi. Whether you hold like the Rabbanan or you hold like Rabbi Eliezer, why can't you go ahead and do the shkita? Like Rashi says, lishvelichsi, the mitzada aim hu tzvi. The mother is a tzvi. Everyone agrees, you certainly chayes for the aim, that it's a tzvi. Binami chayshin la'av, miktasiyah miya'ika. You definitely have at least a chelik that's a tzvi. V'amar divrei akol mi the divrei akol ki ikka mitzvahs m'chayevim b'mitzvahs b'shachibei ki mid amar rachmana tzvi chayev b'kisei afilu mitzvahs tzvi mashma. Like we said before, we're chayish l'mitzvahs, so everyone will agree will be chayish for the mitzvahs tzvi, and it's definitely a tzvi. Um, tzvi v'afilu mitzvah tzvi, because we'll say as long as there's a mitzvah tzvi, there's a chiyuv to mechasa.
So it was only by fair that we had a machlokes if you say mitzvah. So
remember, we really didn't have a machlokes. That we said one might have thought that was just a havamina, that we don't say tzvi or mixus. But in the end, according to Rebbe Eliezer, it wasn't.
Not really, because we said we just asked.
Rebbe Eliezer said he didn't, even though he said that he doesn't hold of mixus of pligi, but like we said at the time, that was just the Gemara fearing guys. Since there is no mixas that is a chaya, or that is a seh, because we disregard the father, so therefore it's not there is no mixas to be. So everyone really holds we would include the mixas. It's not that he says we don't.
Got it. Right, yes.
Elabatzvi habala taisha. So Elamite's talking about a male deer that's ba on a female goat, biyolda. Ilu rabbanon lishet v'lichsi. According to the rabbanon, that they hold that we're chayish for the father. So the father is a tzvi. So you should have to do kisei with chayish for mixed tzvi. Ilu rabbanon lishchait v'leilichsi. According to Rebbe Elazar, he says they're not chayish for the father, so this is a regular behavior. No, we're talking about a male tzvi that's on a female taisha. So, Rabbanan, spooky misafkalu chayshim lezerav. It's not that they say we're not chayish lezerav, so it's a full-fledged behemoth, but we're chayish, it might be a chayim. Yichayshel zerav ain't chayshel. Talk tomorrow with the Rabbam Masaf Galul or Belaza Pshitule. Okay. You know what? We'll have to stop over here because then we're going to go into the third nafkamina, and I know there's a lot of pizza still to be eaten. A lot of I don't know what.